Good morning, welcome. We're starting a new mimer, Parshas Yisrei.
Wow.
Today is Tuesday, Yom Shlishi Shechuchbal Beiki Tov. Parshas Yisrei talks about, of course, the giving of the Torah. And as we'll see in this mimer from the Alter Rebbe, that Torah has a tremendous power in it to bring forth Seviv Kol Almin. We've discussed many times in these classes the concept of Seviv Kol Almin, which is a transcendent light, which shines, which projects in a interesting way. In other words, it surrounds the entire area equally. It doesn't get into the details, but it comes from a level which is very, very high. The benefit of this level of light, of this great Eira Seviv, is that it gives koyach to the person to overcome his animal soul. There's something about learning Torah which weakens the Nefesh HaBahamis. Now, the Nefesh HaBahamis it may not be holy, but it's godly. It's a soul, right? You can even call it holy. It's just animalistic.
Can I ask you a question?
Sure.
Okay. I mean, what you're saying to me seems reversed, because it's by doing and bending or resisting the Yitzhahara that it brings down the Sovev. But you're saying the Sovev gives us the capacity to do that.
You're right. We learned in Basi Dagani over the last while about when a person does a skafia, brings Seviv down. Correct. At the same time, learning Torah gives you Seviv. It brings down Eira Seviv. If it's done correctly, as we'll learn in this night.
Okay.
But you can access Eira Seviv, and that gives the person the koyach to weaken the animal soul for his Aveda and serving Hashem. Let's look inside. We begin with a question: how come Torah doesn't tell us what month clearly Torah was given in? What day, of the month Torah was given in? In the third month, the Tzeis B'nai Yisrael Me'eretz Mitzrayim, third month from when we left Mitzrayim. We left in Nisan, so this is Sivan, Nisan Iyar Sivan. B'yem hazeh ba'u Midbar Sinai, and this day they came to the Midbar of Sinai. Okay, location, time, we got to Midbar Sinai 3 months after we left Mitzrayim. Hine nemar stam b'yem hazeh v'lei pirish be'ezah yom, says the Alter Rebbe, which is brought in many places in Chazal, among our sages, that Torah tells us on this day they came to B'yem hazeh, on this day they came to Har Sinai. It doesn't say what day this day is. We just know the month, we don't know the day. Chazal teach us that this is on Rosh Chodesh. When did they actually arrive there? What day was it? It was Rosh Chodesh Sivan. Where do you get from this day that this day means Rosh Chodesh Sivan? It says over here B'yem hazeh on this day, and it says over there somewhere else when the first mitzvah that Hashem gave the Yidden, which is the mitzvah of keeping a calendar. They're still in Mitzrayim when Hashem told us this is the month. This month should be for you. Reish Chadashim. The word hazeh over there is talking about Rosh Chodesh Nisan, which we know. So because hazeh, hachedesh hazeh, and B'yem hazeh, we learn that it's both talking about the first day of the month. We now derive from the word hazeh that it means the first day of the month of Sivan. Rosh Chodesh Sivan is when we came to Har Sinai. The Ulahavin asks the Alter Rebbe, we have to understand. Very good. So you found me a parallel that in one place it says Hachedesh Hazeh, and therefore, and it means the first day of Rosh Chodesh. Therefore, over here, when it says B'yem Hazeh, it means Rosh Chodesh. That's great. We get it. Why not say it clearly? Why is Hazeh implying or have to imply that it's Rosh Chodesh? Just tell me what day it was. You tell me the month. You're saying Hazeh, Yom Hazeh, say Rosh Chodesh. You have to first understand this by exploring understanding what is the advantage of receiving the Torah. In other words, what did we gain, what benefit, what change happened once we received the Torah? Why? We had the Torah before it was given. Before Torah was given, we had multiple tzaddikim. We had the Avos, our ancestors, who learned Torah. The Avos weren't just involved or some kind of associated with Jewish life. They were a Merkava, which means a chariot, a wagon for Hashem. That means they followed whatever Hashem said, just like your car follows you on a good day. But it doesn't have a mind of its own where it says, yes, no, I don't want to, but I'll do it anyways because you're in charge. And if you don't do it, if I don't listen to you, you'll punish me. Or if I do it, you'll reward me. It's buckle, it just follows. The Avos had that level of commitment, devotion dedication to Hashem. Whatever Hashem said, they did like they were Merkava. They were like a wagon to Hashem. That's the level of bittul. And they did this before Torah was given. So what changed when you had this formal giving over? Okay, guys, here's the Torah. We have the Torah. We're doing it. Not everyone, but the Abbas did it. The Shvatim did it, and so on. So the idea is that the Maila of Avram Avinu, the quality of Avram Avinu was that he was going and traveling south. Okay, it talks about Avram Avinu, that Holech v'Nosaya, he was going and traveling, meaning progressively moving south. What's Pshat? What does it mean he was going south? Technically, Torah is telling you which direction he was going. But Pirush Holech v'Nosaya Madrega l'Madrega, he was going from level to level until he reached which level? The level called south, Hanegba. Now, Negba, south, u'bechinas u'midas ava al yena. This is the level and the midah of the supernal ava. If you are facing Mizrach, you're facing east. Now we know that right is chesed and left is gvura, and chesed, kindness, is ava, which is love. So the right side would mean, if he's going south, that would mean that he was reaching a level of love. What level of love? The Ava Hal Yena, the supernal love, which means love for Hashem. So Avram Avinu was going south. Okay, we're trying to understand what's the greatness of getting the Torah formally in our parsha Matan Torah, if Avram Avinu already did it. So we're saying Avram Avinu was on a mission. He was on a journey. He was going, traveling higher and higher to south, which means the Ava Hal Yena. He was going so much from level to level, till he was literally, his dedication and his love to Hashem was so progressed and developed that he was literally a wagon, a chariot to Hashem. I'm just, whatever you say, I'm in. It was so revealed in his nefesh that whatever Hashem wants, I do. Okay. A mashal to this would be someone that really loves someone else. They put themselves aside and do what the other person wants. Okay, but that's in a minuscule way. You still have your own desires. You still have your own decisions. You're saying it's worth it for you because of the relationship or because of the love. You want to do what they say. But there's a process and there's a thought, and maybe not, and there's a possibility, maybe not. Merkava means I'm so dedicated that I just, wherever you go, I go. I'm a wagon. I'm attached to the front and I go. Now this level, to reach that Ava, is a process that goes from below to above. It doesn't happen automatically. You start from Mitzrayim, which is a place where we're really not feeling and sensing. You don't get that level of revealed love to Hashem. And slowly, step after step after step, we're reaching that Ava to Hashem. Like it says, Avram went up from Mitzrayim, right? He went down to Mitzrayim to get food. Then he went up from Mitzrayim. Mitzrayim, as we know, is confine and limit. We are spiritually in a state that I'm confined. I'm limited by a body, by an animal soul, and all the things that come with that animal soul. Which they limit and enclose the nefesh alikis, Adam and the person. Okay, so I start off, or Avram Avinu starts off in a state of Mitzrayim, which means the Yid is struggling with limits and boundaries placed on him because of the Nefesh HaBahamis. They're not literally holding him back, but they are making it much more difficult. In other words, not literally means you could break out of it, but it's a process. Even though, in other words, what is this Mitzrayim? What's happening here? Even though his neshama, his godly soul, is thinking and learning and contemplating and reflecting and delving deeply in the greatness of Hashem, which normally is supposed to just create this ava, and I'm thinking and learning and contemplating about the fact that Hashem is so great, He created a world. And that's not even His greatness, and it's expanding onto all of His creations. He's the life of all life. And He is sustaining everyone. I fill up the heaven and earth, and the whole world is filled with me. Is filled with Hashem's glory. Nonetheless, despite all this going on in my mind, and I'm connecting and meditating on this concept very much, how Hashem is involved in every detail of the world, Still, it's very hard for my nefesh to get out of its shell, which is the Mitzrayim that I'm starting from, which the shell is the animal soul and the physical body. It's the confinement of the body. It's not easy, despite all those isbeinus, to have iskafia, to bend and not do what I want to, because Hashem said so, and definitely to transform the darkness to light. It's not an easy thing. I could, and I'm supposed to, and with Hashem we will, but I'm starting off in a state of Mitzrayim where I'm confined to a physical body, and my godly soul is in my animal soul. The body is still standing on its strength, in its position, with its vigor, the way it was when it was born. So the Nefesh Elokis shows up, and it says, okay, we got to learn now. And the Nefesh Muhammad says, no, I want to, whatever, do something fun. So, yes, the Nefesh Elokis is going for it, and it's thinking about the greatness of Hashem and understands that this is where it's at, and you have to connect to Hashem and everything that's there, but the body is still pushing back. It's the Mitzrayim of the body. Avram Avinu, so to speak, started from Vayalma Mitzrayim. He went up from Mitzrayim, and it progressively or gradually went to south, which is the Ava, the love for Hashem, that should be revealed in his life. The Chazal tell us that a thief, I've been reading this many times in Maimarim, Shema Gemara and Avodah Zarah, that a thief while he's about to steal, he's like the opening, he is davening to Hashem. What's this idea? You believe in Hashem, you obviously do because you're talking to him, you're asking him to help you. That means you get that he's the one in charge. At the same time, you're about to violate what he said. How do you have both of them together? Because my body is so strong, the Nefesh HaBahamis is so pushing to say, just do it, it's worth it, it's beneficial, it's fun, whatever it is. You'll get something out of it. The Nefesh Elokis says there's an Eibush there, but it's unfortunately not affecting me. I'm still locked in that I'm listening to Nefesh Elokis fully. No, it's not an excuse. It's describing the process of what a person is going through. It's not easy to have that iskafia and that ishapcha. What's the quality, the advantage of Avram Avinu? Says that he got up, he lifted himself up, so to speak, from this limit. The dovka nafshay be'ava yena. He got himself out of that confinement of this nefesh habahamis, animal soul, body, and so on, to attach himself in a supernal ava, so much that he wanted to leave. The neshama wants to leave all of the garments that are holding it back. He wants to leave this shell of the body. He can't. It's not allowed to connect to Hashem in a much deeper way, to have a bittul to Hashem, only to Hashem. So Avram Avinu went from a state, a level that we are all familiar with, known as Mitzrayim, spiritually, confined in a body and an animal soul, and he gradually went, halech, he was going, the Nasaya, and traveling, which means he was elevated, going up, south.
So he wasn't in Merkava then yet, right?
So I'm not sure how to explain that, because it says here that it is a process.
Right.
Did they reach that process? Were they always that way? Is this showing us how it's done because there's deeper and deeper? But yeah, what he's saying here is that it was a process to reach the Aval Yem. Now, he's not telling us a story about Avraham Avinu, he's telling us about ourselves and how we have to serve Hashem. And we're meant to have this hisbainus, this meditation, this contemplation of the greatness of Hashem, and that will bring us to this Ava. This Ava comes through contemplating on the light of Hashem Himself, the infinite light of Hashem Himself, Haseviv Kol Almin, the level which transcends, which surrounds, which encompasses everything. Less machshavat v'isabei. No mind could grasp Him at all. It's a infinite level of godliness. It's Ein Sof, and that light, no mind could contain it. We're limited, and that's unlimited. Because your malchus, which means the lowest level, the bottom sphira, is what makes all these worlds. And worlds, we know, are concealment. They're hiding on the greatness of Hashem, or even on Hashem's existence. It's only using the level of melech, kingship, which kingship in general is a persona. In other words, I'm now acting as king. I have many other qualities, in this case, infinite, from Hashem. But he's using the melech mode to create a world. which means it's a very, very low level. We're not talking about his essence. Shebechinas dibur, which is speech. You find that speech in regards to kingship is called a control. When the king gets up and he says, whatever, an edict, just saying it is a rule. So when we say that Hashem created the world in the level of speech, what's implying is it's not even his essence, it's speech, like by a person. Yes, by a king it represents power, but what are words? Words are just, they're not you. You could think one thing and say the opposite. You shouldn't, but it's doable. It's not you. The words are gone. You said it and it's out of you. Like we say in davening, Baruch She'amar, blessed is the one who said, and the world came about, telling us that the world was created through speech. Meaning, in this context, it's only through speech. That's all it is. And this huge world that we're looking at, it comes from Hashem's speech. That means there's an essence, and there's an infinite light. When more a person is misbeinen in that, the more he appreciates, so to speak, Hashem and wants to connect with Him, that develops an ava. The stronger that ava is, the less the struggle with the nefesh habahamis. Because what's this? You want me to go against Hashem? I love Him. But you only develop that through His beinunus. Part of that is beinunus is learning, on one's own thinking, meditating, contemplating strongly is beinunus. And a big part of that is davening, or with davening. Amira bilvad, only speaking, through that speech, those words of Hashem, the chayes of all the worlds come, the kiyumam and their sustenance, visavusim and their staying in existence, me'ayin liyesh, from nothing to something. All that is only a shine from Hashem, which again, underscoring that it's not even the essence. It's a small external, it's like a shine from Hashem. Like it says, you should be benched in the heavens above and in the earth below. And all the praise, which is the action of your hands. What are we saying? In Birchas Krishma, we say, right, you should be benched in Shamayim above and on the earth below. All this praise is action of your hands. The key here is hands. Hands is something which is outside of you. It's not your talent, it's not your skill, it's not your essence. Whatever, I went like this, I didn't go like this. These are very, very external levels of the person. Metaphorically speaking, by Hashem, when we say these the actions of His hands, means it's a ha'ara, it's a shine. All the worlds, heaven and earth, which is pretty impressive. From the earth to the heavens is a distance of 500 years to get there. I don't know if you're walking or you're driving. It's only the actions of your hands. So you have this huge world, which by any estimation is a major, major accomplishment. And all that is, because we're talking about Hashem, is action of His hands. What do you make a paper airplane with your hands? What can you do with your hands? I'm talking about like serious, a universe. The more a person realizes that, the more he appreciates that there's an Eibishter. In other words, there's an infinite level of the Eibishter. He loves Him and he wants to connect with Him. Just like by a person, in an analogy, when a person is creating something, when you did something with your hands, what koyach of the nefesh is there? It's the koyach hamaisa, the faculty of action, which is external. It's not your thought, it's not your speech, it's your action, which did that. Similarly, in the koyach, in the chayis that is enclosed in all the worlds, all they are is the koyach hamaisa, the action koyach of the Eibishter, which is a koyach chitzoni, it's an external koyach. That means that there's so much deeper than what I'm impressed by. And the more I realize that, this basically is infinite, the more I'm appreciated and I love it and I want to connect with it. Which doesn't, it's only ha'ara and only chitzoni is hanefesh, and it doesn't affect the essence of his neshama at all. And creator of holies, what does it mean, Hashem, creator of holies? What's holy here? Kedoshim are malachim. The Kedoshim, which they are malachim and neshames, they're only a shame, only a name of Hashem. It's also only a shine and a ray of Hashem. but they're not Maaseh Yadecha. It's like the external levels of the walls. So again, even Malachim, which obviously is a pretty holy situation, they're also only a shine and a ray from Hashem, which basically means they're only Maaseh Yadecha. They're actions of your hands, and so on. Because the keach of a maisa, of a person, which is enclosed in whatever keli it is, or some other actionable thing. That keach has no connection with the essence of the nefesh. When a person makes something, when you create something, whatever, you built a box, okay? It's separate from you. Like Al explains in Shari Yechad Amunah, the second section of Tanya, when a craftsman builds something, besides that it's action, he leaves. Right? You sold it, you gave it away to somebody, you're not there anymore. And it still exists. It means it's separate from you. When you make something, it has no connection to your essence of your nefesh. You made it and it's made. You did it, it's important to you, you used your abilities, but it was action, it's external. Just the fact that I have this vessel, this dish, this tool that I made, it doesn't have my essence. My essence is not flowing after it. I maybe have used my essence to my skills to create it, but it's here, and the Keach HaMaisa is gone. Obviously, when Hashem created the world, He's involved, right? But when we're looking at it from a base one level, you see a whole world. It's only a shine of Hashem. It's only the speech of Him, so to speak. There's so much behind it that's, you would think, not at play here. But when you call His name, the essence of the person is also flowing there. The name is a shine and a ray, and which negate atos nefesh. And then kosher and it's still tied and connected with Him. What time is it?
9:01.
Wait. Stop here. That's Hashem tomorrow.
Memorize where we are.
Hopefully.